viewers to another episode on ASUG 12 exam. So basically this is the 12th episode and the final episode in this series where we've been looking at the November 2022 mathematics paper 2. So in the first 11 episode we covered question 1 through 11 extensively. So if you haven't watched the first 11 episodes and also the full episodes covering paper 1, please check on our YouTube channel. So question 12 reads, study the following diagram and answer the questions that follow. Triangle ABC is mapped onto triangle A1, B1, C1 by a single transformation. Then the question reads, describe fully this transformation. So basically we need to look at these shapes. So let me just zoom in so that you're able to see clearly. So what you notice in this case is we have shape 1. I'll call this one to be shape 1, then this is shape 2. So if you compare these two shapes, the first question that you need to ask yourself is basically, has the length changed? Then second, as the angles are changed when you compare these two shapes. Then thirdly, as the area changed. So if we basically all the angles are the same, all the length are the same, and areas of these two are the same, then basically you can think of basically 3 possible types of transformation. These are basically translation, diffraction, and rotation. Now remember, for you to ace an exam question on transformation, you need to know the 6 types of transformation. So I've given you 3, and these 3 are basically the length, angles, and area are preserved. That's it, translation, reflection, and rotation. Then of course you have now enlargement or reduction. In this case it's a case where basically the angles are preserved but the length are either increased or reduced, hence the area changes. Then you have of course the 5th one, which is basically shear, where basically the area is basically preserved, length in the direction of the invariant line, which are basically these are points which do not move, do not change. So basically length in the direction of invariant line do not change. Then of course you've got the last one, which is stretch, where all points move on the lines are perpendicular to the line of invariant points, which can either be x-axis or y-axis. So basically I've given you 7. So in this case, because the angles, length, and area remains basically unchanged, we have 3 possible contenders, which is basically translation, then basically of course we have a deflection, then you have rotation. So these are the possible answers. Then if you look at it critically, what you notice in this case is basically in under translation basically all points move in the same direction, but in this case this is C, then C is here, then this A is here. So basically translation and reflection are basically they face, or the direction in which the shape was facing initially will not change. So the direction in which the object was facing remains the same under the 2 cases. So what you notice in this case, initially this one was facing in this direction, but now it's facing this direction. So basically the direction has changed. If the direction has changed, basically we're talking about the rotation. So basically now if this is rotation, how do you now describe rotation fully? So rotation, to be described fully, you need 2 things. So you need basically the angle of rotation and direction, then also the center of rotation. So for you to find basically the center of rotation, what you do is basically you need to join corresponding points. So you are going to get your ruler. Once you get your ruler, so we have the ruler here and the protractor. So these are the things that you need. So once you do that, basically you are going to join corresponding points. So once you join corresponding points, like in this case we join B and D, B1, you join them like that using a straight ruler. Then you are going to draw a perpendicular bisector. So you are going to get this protractor, then basically extend it up to a given distance, that should be basically just less than this entire distance. Then once you do that, basically you need to make an arc somewhere here. Then also in the same extension you make an arc somewhere here. Then also you come here and put it here. Then you make an arc here and another arc there. Then these are going to basically give you a perpendicular bisector, which in this case, if you do it correctly, it will pass through this point. Then you do the same basically for connecting C and D, basically C1 or A and A1. You just pick 2 points. Then you draw basically a perpendicular bisector. So that perpendicular bisector, again, you draw it using the same. You make the arcs, then the arcs two like that, then they will close like that. Then you join the line. Then basically at this point of intersection of these two, a perpendicular bisector of these two lines that are connecting corresponding points from the object and the image, where they meet is at the center of rotation. So once you determine the center of rotation, basically next you need to know basically the angle of rotation. So what you need to do now is basically join any two corresponding points to the center. So if I join a B, I use a black color, so this B, then I also join this B to this, then measure this angle. So this angle, basically if you do it correctly, it will be 90 degrees. So we are going to write A here. So A is basically, to describe it fully, it will be basically 90 degrees clockwise rotation at basically 0, 0. So basically this is how you answer question A. Let us move to basically question B. So question B, basically an enlargement maps triangle ABC onto triangle A2, B2, C2. Find the center of enlargement, then a scale factor. So basically, again, in this case, what we do is we get a ruler and join the corresponding points. So at the point of intersection with this one is where basically the center of enlargement is happening. So we join basically corresponding points. So you can use a ruler. So if you use your ruler, you're going to draw this line like that. Then also you draw the line like that. So you just need basically 2 points. But what you notice is if you join all of them, they'll pass through the center. So this point of intersection again is basically the center of enlargement. In this case is basically 0, 0. That's the center of enlargement. Then a scale factor. So to find the scale factor basically of this Roman numeral 2, which we shall call K, what we need to do is basically we either pick the value of y or x, whichever is okay. So we're going to pick in this case basically y. So it's a value of y a2, which is basically the image, then divide by y a, which is the object. So if I come here, what's the value of y at a? A is basically negative 2, 4. Then here is basically positive 4, negative 8. So I'm going to have a negative 8 divided by 4. I'm going to end up with basically negative 2. So negative 2 is basically our K factor. You notice that whether you picked y or x, you still end up with the same answer. So if I used x, it will be basically the value of x at a2 divided by the value of x at basically a. So it will be basically here it will be, this will be basically 4 divided by negative 2. Still we end up with negative 2. So negative 2 basically is still the same answer. Then having done that, we are good to go. So let us move to question C. Triangle ABC is mapped onto triangle A3, B3, C3 by a single transformation. Find the matrix representing this transformation. So basically in this case we are required basically to find the matrix such that when we multiply it with this one, then we get that one. So what we need to do is basically we get any two corresponding pairs from the object and the image, such that when you have a matrix we shall call say A, B, C, D. So this is basically just a generic 2 by 2 matrix. Then we multiply it by this matrix, then we shall get this matrix. So you can pick any two corresponding pairs. So you can say if I pick A, so here I pick A, then here I need to pick A3. Then if I pick here basically B, then this will be B, then this will be B3, like that. So if you want, you can pick A and C, then that side you are going to get A3 and C3. If you pick B this side and C, then the other side it will be basically B3 and C3. So what's the coordinate of A? So A is basically -2, basically 4. What are the coordinates of B here? So this is basically we have a 1, then here we have -3. So it's -3, 1. Okay, so remember on top is a value of x, then down is a value of y. Then the corresponding points, this one is basically we have -2, 0. Then B, this one is basically this is -5. Then this is -3. So we have -3, then -5, like that. Then what you do is the left hand side you multiply it. Then the product you equate it to what is this side. So what we notice here is in this case is you start basically this A multiplied by -2. It will be basically -2A, then plus this B multiplied by that, so it will be plus 4B. Then we proceed now. You see this one you multiply by that, then this one by that. So we're going to have basically -3A, then plus basically B. Then this must be equated to basically the corresponding values, then like that, then 0, then -5. Then after you do that, basically now you see this multiplied by these. So it will be C multiplied by -2, so it will be -2C, then plus C. Similarly, D multiplied by this 4, so it will be 4D. Then again now you move to this column. So remember you multiply the row by a column. That's a standard when you're multiplying matrices. So again you're going to have -3C, then plus basically D. So what you notice in this case is these and these will be the same, except that we are going to have different variables. Remember, this is C, this is A, then this is B, this is D. So they will be in the same ratio. So now remember, after you do that, basically this is equal to that, then basically this is equal to that, then this one is equal to that, then of course this one is equal to that. So you do that, then basically you start solving simultaneously. So you are going to have two pairs of unknown simultaneous equation. So let me just move to a new page, then equate to that. So you know that this one is equal to that. That's the first one. So we have -2A plus 4B equals -2. This is equation 1. Then the second one, it will be basically what is on top, then this one is equal to that. So it will be basically -3A plus B equals -3. So this is equation 2. That's the first pair. Then the second pair is basically we go now down, which will now be this one equals to that, then this one equals to that. So what we do is basically we have -2C plus 4D equals 0. Then this is equation 3. Then we have -3C, then plus basically D equals 5. This is equation 4. Then basically you solve this one because you have A, B unknown. Then you also solve this one simultaneously as different pairs. So what you notice in this case, this one is easier to solve by substitution. So just make B the subject of formula. So B is equal to basically -3 plus basically 3A. So this is basically the same as B is equal to basically 3A minus basically 3, like that. So in this first equation, whenever there is a B, we substitute with that. So we are going to have basically -2A, then plus 4 multiplied by 3A minus 3, then equals basically this value, which is -2. So we are going to have -A plus basically 12A, which is 4 times 3A there, then minus 4 times -3, it will be -12 equals basically -2. Then if I simplify this part, I'm going to end up with basically 10A a equals basically this one becomes a positive, so it will be 12 plus negative 2, it will be just basically 10. So I divide by 10, I divide by 10, so a is equal to 1. So having found what a is, then I find basically b by just substituting into this one. So it will be basically b equals basically 3 multiplied by 1 minus 3, which is basically equal to 0. So I know now the value of b equals 0 from that. So next I need to know the value of c and d. So similarly, we can basically simplify this one. So this one, which is equation 3, will be basically negative 2, c equals nothing but 4d, which is a negative. The moment this one crosses the equal sign, it becomes a negative. Then I can divide by negative 2, so c equals basically 2d. So since c equals to 2d, whenever there is a c in this equation, I can substitute with this one. So I'm going to have negative 3, then multiply by c. What is c? C is 2d. Then plus d equals basically negative 5. Remember, this is negative 5, not a positive. I think we made a mistake here. This is a negative 5. So what we do is basically we multiply that. We're going to end up with basically negative 6d plus d equals negative 5. Then this tells me that we're going to have negative 5d equals basically minus 5. Then we divide by minus 5, so d equals basically 1. So if you know d, then we can find the c using this equation. So we have c equals basically 2 times 1, so c is equal to 2. So since now we know the value of basically all the 4 variables, we can now write this matrix. So the matrix basically will be basically here. I can write it here. So it will be basically what's the value of a. The value of a is 1, then the value of b is 0, then d is 1, then c is 2. So basically here we are going to have basically a, which is basically nothing but basically a 1, then b is a 0, then we know that c is basically 2, then d is a 1. So we are going to have this matrix. So basically follow the steps that I've used extensively, then this should be fine. Then we can look at question D. So D leads the transformation with a matrix. This one maps triangle ABC onto triangle A4, B4, C4, not shown on the diagram. Find the coordinates of basically A4, B4, C4. So basically this is straightforward and easy, because what we do is in this case we just multiply this matrix with the coordinate of the initial object. So we know the coordinates of B. So the coordinates of B are this one. So the one thing that we need to know is the coordinates of C. So C here is basically negative 4, basically 2. So let me just move to the new page. So we are getting this one. So we are going to have basically 1, 0, then 0, like that. Then we are going to multiply the values of a. So the values of a we already know is this one, which is negative 2, 4, then b negative 3, 1. So we have negative 2, 4, then negative 3, 1. Then that of c, we found this one is negative 4, 2. So we have negative 4, 2. This is a, then this is b, then this is c. So basically what we do is we just start multiplying. So you notice that basically is a row multiplied by a column. So it will be basically 1 multiplied by negative 2. It will be negative 2 plus 0 times 4. So because this is 0, all these will be zeros. What is there? So it will just be negative 2 times 1. It will be negative 2. Then 1 multiplied by negative 3 plus 0. It will be negative 3. Then it will be 1 multiplied by negative 4. It will be negative 4 plus 0, because 0 multiplied by anything it will be 0. So we are going to get negative 4 there as the answer. Then basically it will now be this second row multiplied by the columns. So it will be basically 0 multiplied by negative 2 is a 0, plus negative 2 multiplied by 4, it will be negative 8. then basically it will be 0 multiplied by this is a 0 plus this one now multiplied by that one, which will be negative 2. Then similarly this multiplied by 0, it will be 0, then plus negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. So this one will be basically the matrix representing the new coordinates. So in this case, what you notice we have A4, B4, then C4. So the coordinates F4 is basically negative 2 comma negative 8, then B4 it will be basically negative 3 comma negative 2, then C4 it will be basically negative 4 comma negative 4. So basically this is how you answer this question to get the optimal marks. So this is basically where I've come to the end of these episodes that focused on mathematics. So remember, I've covered paper 1 and paper 2 extensively. If you haven't watched those episodes, please check on our YouTube channel. So watch out for the next episode where we are starting looking at science from the November 2022 exams. Thank you viewers for watching this episode. If you find this video to be very helpful, please consider liking, sharing, and if you are new to this channel, subscribe to our channel. Once you go to our channel, we'll discover that we've got so much content for you. You'll notice that we've got mathematics, physics, and chemistry. We've also got a section that is arranged by topics. You could be finding challenges with a specific topic. This is the best section for you.